Hello, everyone, and welcome to the monthly live edition of the HR Sound Off podcast show. It is a pleasure to be here on this beautiful day to talk to you guys about an amazing conference that is coming up. You know that once I am aware of a conference that I think HR professionals should attend, I am going to bring it to your knowledge. I'm going to bring it to your awareness. So I'm happy today to be joined by the keynote speakers for the C-Sharp conference for 2024, which is being held on the beautiful island of Jamaica from May 9th and 10th this year. So if you can still make it to Jamaica next week, you've got some time to book that flight and get to the Spanish Court Hotel to join us for the C-Sharp conference. The theme of the conference this year is every artist has a story. And I love this because anyone who knows me, whether it's on LinkedIn or wherever you communicate and connect with me and engage with my content, you know that I'm always talking about HR professionals as people experience architects. And so being able to be an architect means you've got to be able to tell a story. And HR professionals are masters at telling stories, especially the stories about the people experiences in the organization. And so today I am joined by the amazing Conroy Thompson.
Hey!
Who is joining us from Canada, but will be in Jamaica next week.
Yes.
And the wonderful Tiersa Hall. Hello. And anyone who can't see, I'm wearing my C-Sharp t-shirt today.
I see that. I need to get me one.
Yeah, you gotta talk to the rest. But Kimberly, just so you can, I'm wearing my t-shirt. See, I'm on brand today. It is a pleasure to have you guys here today. Thank you for joining me. And I am so excited to get into this conversation with both of you today. So let's kick things off by telling our audience a little bit about who is Conroy Thompson and who is Tiersa Hall. So I'm going to let ladies first. Tiersa, go ahead and you can start to just tell us a little bit about who you are. What is your HR story, your origin story? How did you get here? You know how we do it on HR Sound Off.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Tiersa Hall, and I'm originally from the beautiful Turks and Caicos. My mother's from Jamaica, and my dad's from Turks and Caicos, so I'm a little mix. And I am the proud owner and CEO and founder of Impactful Imprints Training and Consulting. So I am a HR and culture consultant and a certified master trainer. So my line of work is everything that's people-centric. So solving challenges, communication, leadership, engagement, all of those elements that help make the work culture thrive and be what we really need it to be. In terms of HR, I'm a huge, passionate person of HR. HR chose me. I didn't choose it.
Love that.
Has always been something that was valuable to me. Learning people, knowing about them, helping connect and bridge the gap between people and what they do. So my background is I've worked in the hospitality arena of HR. So, that means surprise, surprise. Every day is something different and something new, which keeps you abreast and keeps you thinking on your feet. But I've been so blessed to have worked in that industry for 16 plus years and now being able to do consulting and help the HR professionals that has struggled with some of those challenges to now have that support on the outside and be able to help them in light of the time that they have. It's been just a joy and a pleasure to do.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And we're so glad that HR chose you, Tiersa. Over to you, Conroy.
Wow, Tiersa just stole my story. The entire story. Okay.
Come again.
That's fine. From the beautiful island of Jamaica.
Yes.
Born, bred, raised, and for me, I've always wanted to be a teacher. Ever since I know myself. In my little, one bedroom board house, from wall to wall, I used to get the little pieces of chalk from my teachers, and I would go back home and I would just write, on the wall and pretend as if I was teaching. And when I went into sales first in the hospitality industry. But there was that teaching part kept pulling, just kept pulling me, and I decided to host a training session for my team one day. And my director was like, you know, as great as a salesperson you are, I think you would do just a even better job for this resort if you moved into training and development. And I jumped in head first, and been living by the mantra, I learn so I teach. I'm
Mm-hmm.
somebody who is always doing some course to bring that value to
Yeah.
wherever, whether through consultancy or whether I'm working somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I try to bring that value, of getting everybody together
Mm-hmm.
to help them understand the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because, we're all pieces of puzzles when we go into an organization. N- Every piece is important, and
Mm-hmm.
my job is to ensure that even the smallest piece in that puzzle don't feel as if they're just a small piece.
Yeah.
So I try to inspire, you know, as I go. I do keynotes, I do training sessions, facilitate leadership workshops, um, and I teach, I lecture at the universities as well,
Mm-hmm.
in hospitality as well as HR and marketing. So a little of everything, and
A
then
little
now,
bit of everything.
yeah, back into my learning season. Hence the reason
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Canada right now, doing
Right.
this global tourism course as well as an international business course. So learn so I teach.
You learn so you teach. You really are true to this.
Yeah,
Not new to this.
not new to this.
Not new to this. You're true to this. Well, we're so glad to have you both here today. And thank you so much for just sharing your HR origin stories with us. We really appreciate it. I know that I think all three of us have one thing in common. Well, we have a lot in common, all
Yes,
three
we
of
do.
us. But for the most part, we are all Jamaicans. My dad was Jamaican, Tiersa's Jamaican, and you are 100% Jamaican. So
100%.
yes, and there's just something about coming home, and being in that space. I always say it's one place that I just love, the people, the culture, the food, everything. And I'm so glad to see C Sharp developing and growing the way that it has over the last couple of years. I think right now we have to give major props to Rochelle
Oh yeah.
J
Oh yeah.
and the C Sharp
Oh
team.
yes. Oh yes.
They are
Oh yes.
doing some amazing
Oh
work
yeah.
behind the scenes. They recently added me to their planning chat on WhatsApp.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, that chat has not stopped going since they added me. They are constantly they're working behind the scenes to really make sure that everyone has a great experience. And so I am looking forward to coming home, and I know Tirsa is as well. And I know you're looking forward to get back home too, Conrad.
Oh yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the conference. So as I said before, the conference is going to be over 2 days, May 9th and 10th. What for you makes this conference so special and unique?
All right. I'll go because I think
Go ahead.
I'm day one speaker.
You're day one speaker.
I am day
Absolutely.
one speaker.
Uh-huh, you are.
Listen, you touched on it. You touched on it a little bit, Julie, when you started. That theme. Every artist has a story.
So yes.
I felt it was necessary to be a part of this, especially this year,
Yeah.
and with that theme, because having worked with a lot of executives and different businesses, owners, HR professionals, common people, just regular managers, I realized that sometimes when they hear my story,
Mm-hmm.
they will pull me to the side and they're like, I've always wanted to share what I've gone through to get to this place, but I just did not know that I had permission to do that. And I want to give somebody in that audience the permission to say, hey,
Yeah.
that little stumble that you had, trust me, it can become
Mm-hmm.
the most beautiful walls.
Mm-hmm.
If the way it's how you the mindset you have to think how you can just move with that with that thing, because guess
Yeah.
what, challenges come every day, every
Mm-hmm.
single day. I mean, I can share one that happened to me this morning.
Go ahead.
I mean, I ran out of the hotel. I'm like, okay, let me just go and take care of this. I will be back shortly. I do not have my Canadian number, a cell phone yet. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look about that today. I got stuck around 45 minutes away from the hotel. No one in sight to help me. Everybody I went to, they're like, oh, no, 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 I can't help you. I had money. I was looking for a payphone, couldn't find any payphone. I went
Wow.
into a few gas stations. Oh, we don't know where any payphone is. And and I walked out of the gas station. I was like, okay, this is your challenge today. This is your stumble. How are you going to turn that into a dance? I
Mm.
said, you know what? Don't stop. Just keep moving. And for some reason, I was going to go across the road, and I said, let me try that one last gas station that I see on the end. When I went there, there was a taxi parked up right there, waiting for just anybody to come. And just like that, I was able to make it back here. And
Wow.
I was like, we go through these challenges every single day.
Yes.
And one of the things that we think, and with anything, it's either fight or flight. We
Mm-hmm.
go into that mode where,
Yes.
okay, let me just run away or I'm scared.
Yes.
When you can take hold of yourself and center yourself in a situation
Mm-hmm.
and think logically and think clearly, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a better way, or you have more options to look at, what other than you're in flight mode and you're like, okay, you're panicking. It is going to shrink your capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to bring to the audience some examples of how we can, and trust me, I have them. I have them from as a child. Those who know my story know,
Mm-hmm.
how, growing up with a mother, father, that type of situation, how that affected me during my, even in my adult life. And it was not when I decided to, you know what, Conroy, listen, just kind of stop. What happened in your past is in your past. Leave it. How can you make something now from this?
Yeah.
From the fact that you have to be running. I mean, I used to, in the hotel industry in Jamaica, they were afraid of hiring me in my
Mm.
earlier years. I was known as the walker. As soon as I got attached to a workplace, or as soon as I heard that I'm doing a great job, I found a way to leave. I remember one instance, I was up for an award, and the HR manager at the time told me. And the next day, I walked in with my resignation. And my father, when my father came into my life and he noticed this pattern, he stopped me one day. He's like, why is every time you're doing so well somewhere, you're just moving? What's going on? I did not understand that the attachment issues, or the lack thereof, that I had as a child, it carried over
Yeah.
into my adult life. So I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand that whatever challenge,
Yeah.
there's a dance there,
Yes.
that will turn out into beautiful walls, as I
And
said.
that's what you're going to share with us
Absolutely.
on third. I am excited. I mean, I've heard you speak several times, and I know that when you come to the stage, you come to the stage with, you bring your all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're always on your A game. So I am looking forward to that. But you touched on some really important things that I think we as HR people don't talk about enough, which is
Exactly.
recognizing that some things are deep rooted, right? And from our childhood into our adulthood, we
Hmm.
carry those things into the workplace
And they show up in the work. So you
in
hire
different ways.
Conroy. On paper, Conroy is, oh my God, he has two master's degrees, whatever. But what is going on
Uh huh.
when Conroy shows up to work?
Yeah.
with everything else that is not on that resume.
That makes him
Yeah,
Conroy, the
exactly.
human being, right?
Exactly.
Same thing for us as HR professionals and how we show up in the workplace.
Hmm.
But I two people who I always remember reading the book HR on Purpose by Steve Brown. And I always remember in that book, Steve said, parents, remember that you are raising future employees.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it's so that was so not like it was profound to me because it was like,
Hmm.
you know we don't really tap into this thing of understanding when we tell people bring them their whole selves to work. In the Caribbean, we
Hmm.
say a lot, when you get here, leave your
Leave the problems at the
situation
gate.
at
Yeah.
the door, and
Yes.
then you come in here, you do the work, and when you're done, you could pick them
You
back
pick
up
it up.
and go about your business, right? But that's not the way we should be, right? Because whoever
Hmm.
I am when I before I hit the door is who I should be when I walk through the door, and all the way through till I leave the organization again at the end of the day. But a lot of times people say no, you leave that, you be professional here, you don't show your pain, your scars are not welcome here, your trauma is not welcome here.
Hmm.
And that's not the way it should be at all. So I really do appreciate, and I'm looking forward to hearing you bring that story to the stage, because I feel like it's such an important story
It
to
is.
share.
Yeah. It is.
Yes. Tiersa, you want to share anything? I mean, from what Conroy said, and then let's kick into you as well.
Sure. I think that's it's very much on point. I think what makes this unique is the fact that the title isn't necessarily relating specifically to the field. It's indirectly tied.
Yes.
And so when we look at the amazing structure that's set up for this conference, which includes, you have workshops where you're
Workshop.
actually being certified, and then
Yes.
you have speakers there to motivate you. And so I think the key element here is being able to connect the two worlds, because Conroy is kicking off with owning the story, but I'm doing sharing the story.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sharing the story is
Mm-hmm.
critical, that you understand how your HR operations world ties into who you are as a person and your
Mm-hmm.
purpose that's within. And so
Mm-hmm.
the connection of those two areas is profound. And I think that's what people who attend this conference this year is going to
Yeah.
get, something very different,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
really saying, I am the missing piece. I'm the missing puzzle piece,
Yes.
whole equation of what
Hmm.
HR represents. And so
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, is the most exciting element,
Yeah.
because now they're going to see that the car is there and we just need gas, and the gas is you. You have
Yeah.
that special element
Yes.
that's really going to ignite your department, ignite your organization to really
Yes.
achieve what needs to be achieved.
Absolutely. I could hear the excitement. I feel excited already. Like I've been buzzing for a while. I knew this conversation was gonna heighten my vibrations. And I really hope that it excites people to be able to think about making that connection for themselves, and also then making that investment for yourself and saying, look, I need to be at C Sharp. The great thing about this conference is that it is being run not just face to face, but also virtually. I
Yeah.
think the C Sharp team recognizes that coming out of the pandemic, it really is important to keep people connected. It's one thing to have recordings available after a conference, but it's another thing to be able to have people who can't make it still be able to experience it in some way or form
Hmm.
virtually
Hmm.
while it is happening in real time. And so C Sharp have done that job of making sure that you're going to be able to enjoy the experiences of the conference, even though you're not there face to face. You can log in from the comfort of your home or your office. You can bring your team together in a boardroom, wherever you are in the world, and still participate in this conference.
And we
There
will
are
be shouting you out. We will be shouting you out
Of
from
course.
there.
Of course.
absolutely,
Looking
Of
for you in the
course.
chats. We're going to make sure it's lit virtually and in person.
Yep.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think you made a very good point, Tirsa, about how the conference is broken down, because I think that what people are going to be able to appreciate from this conference this year is that they're going to be able to access workshops,
Yeah.
and that they're going to be able to leave at the end of those workshops with a certification.
Yeah.
Anyone want to share on that?
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Listen, I am I will tell you the teams that I work with, I always say to them, it's pointless for you to tell me that you're working somewhere for 15 years. And over that 15 years you cannot show me anything that you would have achieved in terms of upskilling or doing anything to enhance yourself. So this bit was like I was like, whoa, 6 workshops,
Six.
certifiable workshops. I'm like, oh,
Certifiable.
I'm like, yeah, I love it,
Mm-hmm.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
I
You
think
know,
too for like organizations, a lot of times, especially as HR, and shout out to my one, I call them one man bands, the one HR professional
The
that's
departments of one, yes.
I don't know, right?
to find that organizations don't give them the time off needed for all of these elements. So to have a one-stop shop where you're able to be inspired, where you're able to educate yourself and leave with certification is
Yes.
a blessing, because now the organization is going to benefit from it and we're still able to work within the time parameters that we have.
Exactly. The
Absolutely.
tools are, I mean, look at it as coming with a backpack and leaving with that backpack full of tools to take back
Yes.
to
Yeah.
your organization
Yes.
and make that impact and bring that value.
Yes.
Because I have heard conversations because I've sat on both sides of the boardroom table.
Mm-hmm.
The side where the the finance person is like, why should we invest in this? And the side where we need that funds to really build the people, because the people are going to be the ones building the company.
Yes.
So when you come to these conferences, especially this one, go back
Mm-hmm.
and bring those tools in,
Yes.
and they will see the value
Yes.
Yes.
because they want to see that.
Yes.
It's pointless to go and you gather all the information, all of the paper, and then you stuck it in your drawer,
And
and
you,
that's
that's
it.
it.
Like there was nothing.
You never look back at
Go
it
back
again.
and exactly and make an impact, because that is very,
Yes.
very important.
I am so glad that you guys raised that point, because one of the things that I love about the C Sharp conference is they make sure that you are able to apply everything you are hearing and learning in real time. And one of the ways that they do that is through activation sessions. So at the end of presentations, there's an activation session that says, okay, based on what you've heard, what you've seen, how do you think you're going to be able to apply that in the workplace? Now I know a lot of my HR counterparts, I didn't know, we go to conferences and you say, this is all great information in theory, but our organization is not going to allow us to do this, or they're not going to allow us to do that. But here's where owning your story matters, because if you own the narrative behind what needs to be done in the organization from a people perspective,
Mm.
and you show the ROI, the business is going
Mhm.
to not say no. You may get a limited budget, but there are lots of things that you're going to be able to apply without money. There are lots of things you're going to be able to apply without a budget, and then there are things that you're going to be able to apply on a low budget, and then there are things that you may need a little bit more money for. But this is the opportunity for you to now develop your own verbiage,
Mhm.
your own story around the people experiences in your organization. And I'm proud to say that I am going to be doing some of the activation sessions over the 2 days.
Nice.
I will be conducting some of those activation sessions, and I have been researching. I was telling the team I've been researching for a long time how I'm going to do these activation sessions this time, because they're based on the theme of owning your story. I feel like it's going to be a whole movie experience.
Mhm.
I've always been curious about how they make storyboards for movies or
Mhm.
television series or cartoons. I've
Mhm.
always been excited about that. And so I'm going to take people on a journey of creating their own story of like how they're experiencing the conference through storyboards. And I'm really excited to share that.
Of course,
And we're going to be able to do that not just face to face,
but
but
virtually.
also virtually.
Nice.
Everyone is going to have an opportunity to participate in that.
I
I
love
see
that.
I see Kimberly from C Sharp is here, and she has shared the program for the conference on the chat screen, so you can actually click on that and you can see some of the topics that are being covered. But I'm going to mention a few of the other topics that are being covered. I am very curious about a few of these topics and how they're going to be brought to life.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of HR Karen?
Oh, yes.
Oh, what are your thoughts on HR Karen, guys?
Before we do that, why don't you define HR Karen for our audience?
So one of our presenters, Rachel Martinez, absolutely amazing lady. She's going to be talking on stories of laughter. That's the theme. And her presentation is called HR Karen. So we know, as we see those videos on social media with Karens, right?
Calling.
Yes.
Can't do that.
No, right? Who's that HR Karen? If you know an HR Karen, don't call her out on this live, please.
Mm-mm.
I ask, I beg. The internet is forever. Just keep that one in your head.
The policy is.
Those ones that hide behind those policies, those ones that are sticklers for everything. If it's not on paper, it's not happening. And they have no sort of flexibility or wiggle room. And I feel so sad for those HR professionals, to be honest, that we don't feel brave enough to be able to step outside of a policy or step outside of ourselves and be unconventional, be creative. Yeah. Tiersa is smiling.
Sometimes to the detriment of the team.
But also to the detriment of the organization.
Yeah. Well,
ultimate detriment of the organization. Yeah. Absolutely. Tiersa, I see you smiling a smile. What are you thinking? I think Tiersa froze on us. She's coming. We'll give her a second to come back.
Okay.
And then, so they have different themes throughout the day. So we have stories of laughter, stories of obscurity and opposition. And then at the end of the day is going to be the innovation and education certification workshops. So in the stories of laughter, we have HR Karen. We also have Release the Kraken by Martin Thame.
Martin, yeah, that's
Martin. Okay. And if you've ever heard Martin's
presentation, I cannot wait.
Yes.
Okay.
Martin, that's going to be an interesting one. And then we have Smiles Have Stories by Gina Tomlinson Williams. So looking forward to that. But then under Stories of Obscurity and Opposition, we have Post and Pray by Kim Isava. And I know Kim is from CaribbeanJobs.com, which is one of the featured sponsors for the conference.
Nice.
We have Power in Vulnerability. I feel this is a really crucial one because I think a lot of times for us in the HR space, we don't think enough about the importance of we ourselves as HR people being vulnerable in our roles, right? And it's so important for us as HR to be vulnerable. When you hear people say we don't trust HR, HR can't be trusted, they talk out your business, I don't have nothing to say to HR, HR is not your friend. I mean, I have my own views on that. I remember someone saying, I watched a post yesterday with someone saying, welcome back, Tiersa. I watched a post yesterday with someone saying, responding to that HR is not your friend. And she was saying, well, tell me if you ever saw in a job description that you have to be someone's friend. If you never saw it on a job description, you know, and I was like, wow, I don't think that that's fair. At the end of the day, you know, we fill a very fine line. And I think a lot of us toe that line in a way that can be seen as unprofessional. And then others of us toe that line in such a way that we become very cold and unapproachable to employees. So I think it's a very fine line that we really have to toe when it comes to that.
Very fine line.
Very, very fine line that we have to toe. But I do think that vulnerability is definitely important when it comes to being an HR professional, because we have that so many things happen in the organization that require us to be human.
The balancing act has to
That
be there.
yes, it has to be a balancing
Mm-hmm.
act. There's no, in this era of HR, guys, I don't think there's room for HR Karens
Nope.
at all. I don't think there's room for them. And I
Yeah.
also believe that this HR really is about storytelling, really is about being scientists and experimenting with people, services, and products that we
Mm-hmm.
offer to the organization. I absolutely believe that this is the place for it.
Yes. And the transition, right? Because we're coming from an era where administrative was stronger than
Mm,
personal human connection. That's
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
what the man was before, that the
Yeah.
paper gets pushed. But the
Paper pushing.
connection is now at the forefront, right? People
Yes.
are choosing where they work based on the connection, based on the understanding of who they are as people, human
Mm-hmm.
beings. So now we're in a new era that requires the focus to be about people. So if you don't have that desire to connect, if you're not facing blurred lines, then
Yes.
HR is not the area you want to be in.
Not where you
Yeah.
want to be.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Not where you
This is mandatory.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Jermaine says Karen gets a bad rap. You know, it's a very common name in the Caribbean. It's so unfortunate. Oh my goodness. I also want to go into the actual certification courses that are being offered. And they also have courses that are going to be in person, and they have one that will be virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to you guys, C
Yeah.
Sharp. You guys are amazing.
Just
Oh
for
my
C sharp,
goodness.
C sharp raised the bar.
They really raised the bar. Look,
Yeah.
listen, we're not playing over here at C Sharp. We really are not. So the in-person one is on understanding Caribbean labor laws. This one is going to be done by Brittany Brathwaite, if memory serves me correctly. Brittany
Yeah.
is one of my nearest and dearest friends, but when it comes to labor laws,
Mm-hmm.
she has worked very hard throughout the region to create a lot of the policies and legislations that exist in various countries throughout the Caribbean. She works for the ILO, and she is amazing when it comes to policy. Hand down, you
Mm-hmm.
can't touch Brittany.
Nice.
She knows her thing. And so that's going to be a great session. Then we have one that really touches me is neuroscience solutions to key workplace challenges development consulting center. So neuroscience solutions to key workplace challenges. I think this is so important because as we get to understand everybody's brain is not the same.
All
Me,
right.
me as a neurospicy woman, I have
Mm.
ADHD, but that thing sometimes is a blessing and a curse to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I am in my hyper focus or just able to get things out of my brain, it's completely amazing. I could tear down a country and build it back up. But in the moments when I'm struggling with my ADHD, it's almost hard to see behind the fog. And a lot of times we don't understand, because we don't understand that everyone's brain is not the same, and
Wired differently.
how
Yeah.
people show up in the workplace
Mm-hmm.
can again make it very difficult for people to understand how to lead
Mm-hmm.
people who have ADHD, who may be on the spectrum, to pick up things like dyslexia,
Mm-hmm.
dyspraxia. It's
Yeah.
very hard for those of us who are neurotypical to pick up those things, and then all we see um, as neurotypical people, all they see, because I am not neurotypical,
Mm-hmm.
but all neurotypical people see is this person is difficult, this person is hard to work with, this person doesn't stay focused,
This
but they
person
don't
cannot
see.
work here. This person needs to leave. This person is not
Yes.
functioning.
And then when
Oh
they
yeah.
come to HR, I don't want to work with this person no
Yeah.
more. But
Oh
you
yeah.
don't understand. You don't want to take the time to understand what's happening in the brain that is
Mm-hmm.
causing that person to behave the way they behave.
Mm-hmm.
So I really am looking forward to. That's the session I'm going. Sorry, Brittany. This is the session that I want to get my certification for, because I absolutely am obsessed with neuroscience, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the virtual ones, there is the basics of data visualizations. So again,
Oh
data
yeah. Oh
for
yeah.
us as HR people is really something that's very important for us to understand,
Yeah.
and being able to navigate data in such a way that it can help us with our storytelling.
Yes.
Exactly.
Moving
Especially,
from
especially.
them Excel spreadsheets and pivot
Mhm.
tables to
Mhm.
dashboards was a
Mhm.
blessing to me.
Amen.
Yeah, and really and truly, that's where the workplace is. That's
Yes.
where it's going. That's where it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you have and as HR, we again, that balancing act has to be. We have to have it so well, because we are dealing with the people,
Yes.
but we're also dealing with our superiors, or the board, who they really and truly, they don't want to sit and listen to a lot of things. But how do we take that same story from the analytics that we would have gained and make it make sense to them, right? Because again, we want the funding. We want
Yes.
them to invest in these programs, these employee engagement programs. And if they don't see the benefits, then they'll be like, "Oh, this is an expense." We want
Mm-hmm.
them to understand that it's not an expense; it's an investment. So us understanding. I really want to get with that one. That's the one I want to get on.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just to highlight, in my keynote, it's definitely going to be that connecting dot. So you're going to
Hmm.
be coming from that flow and now saying, okay, this is the starting step of why this is so important in your
Hmm.
storytelling, and then you get straight into application. See, that's what I like about this conference. You're going
Hmm.
Yes.
to step,
Yes.
connect the dots, and now you'll be able to not just go to your organization and figure out how am I going to work this. You're going to see that before you even get there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That
Nice.
full visual. This is what I need to do. This is why I need to do it, and this is how I'm going to do it. So that's
Yes.
what makes this come full circle.
Yeah.
Yes. And as you said, this is part of why I'm so excited about this conference, because I think for a long time, this has been a missing link in HR that we have
Hmm.
needed so badly, so desperately. And I'm so happy to see C Sharp um, take
I am moving my head as well. So
I
it's
just
not us.
this time.
Uh, yeah, but I mean, just to until she gets back.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the flow of the conference is so it's such a unique conference with such a powerful. I call it the transformational conference. You come in there with an open mind, and you're leaving with so many positive tools that you can use.
Yeah.
Not things that you're going to sit on, but things that you can immediately get into the nitty gritty in your organization and say, you know what, let's move this way, or let's try and implement this. And sometimes it takes a longer time to implement certain things, but
Yes.
but sharing your story, yes, and
Yes.
how we do that will help, pave the way with some of the
Yes.
difficult conversation, because sometimes we have some difficult bosses,
Yes.
who, let's face it, but the way that we share those stories and getting to the heart of them, it's
Yeah.
really and truly what we're
Now we
going
have
to
the
do.
numbers, but then some of us are like, okay, um, what do I do with these numbers?
Yes,
Like, what am I looking for? What? How does the data connect to what I want to say? Because
yes,
exactly.
whether we had data or not, we always knew what the problems were and we
Yeah,
knew where they were. The
yes,
exactly.
challenge was always, how do I communicate that in a language where it sounds like business, where
Mm,
it refers specifically to operational needs? How do I
exactly.
convert,
yes,
translate? And so that's what's been missing. So now you have the data. You've
hmm,
always knew what the problem is. How do we match that and make it clear?
Exactly.
absolutely. Thank you guys for taking care of that for me. In true Caribbean style, the power went off. You know what? You know
Yeah.
what happens when the power goes off? Anything
Mm,
that can go wrong will go wrong once you're
mm,
living in the Caribbean. But we're back. So I want to cover day 2. Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing. All of the workshops are going to be available for attendees post-conference. Wonderful.
Oh, nice.
That's wonderful.
That's
I tell you,
exciting.
C-sharp, though they ain't
That's
playing,
exciting. Yeah.
C-sharp is not playing with this thing. They are not playing with this
Uh,
thing.
The bar
Oh
has
my,
been raised.
yes. Well, way up, way up.
Mhm.
C-sharp 2025. What we gonna do, guys?
We're coming in on the Jetson type.
I know, right? Zooming in.
Flying cars and robots and all those kind of things gonna be up in there in 2025. I tell you, boy.
Yeah.
So I want to just touch on day 2 a little bit, and then we're going to start to close out our session today. So we start off with a fireside chat on tapping into a new pool. So how do we tap into talent? I think that one's going to be about talent. Again, stories of upskilling is the first theme for day 2. We're going to have Dining with Data and Strategy by Anadine Nembard.
Nice.
Then we're going to have Crafting Tomorrow's Workplace by Natalie Fagan. Start a Riot, and Riot is an acronym, and this one is going to be by Joan Underwood. I think I've heard a little bit about this before, followed by an activation session. I am excited for this. Stories of Discovery is part 2, and this one now we're going to have a Marketing Strategy for HR by Trishan Lee, Mood Palette by Soshina White. Then we're going to have Post-COVID Generation Divide by Marlene James, and the conversation that I just keep talking about all the time, Menopause Productivity by Joanna Bissett. I am so glad to see this on the program, because women, we're not getting any younger. We're going through a lot of things in life. Menopause is menopausing, and it is showing up at work and showing out. And it is causing us to be a hot mess. And I think people just don't understand.
Hot literally.
We are literally a hot mess. Figuratively a hot mess. We are hot in general.
Boy.
And I think it's so important for us to have this conversation about menopause, and I will not stop advocating for us to have conversations about how we navigate menopause in the workplace. One of the things that I really want people to seriously think about, that I will be raising in the conference, I'm going to challenge people to think a little bit about how do we create budgets that support women who decide they want hormone replacement therapy, and also how do we support women who go through periods of, I'm putting it out there, guys, very heavy bleeding. It's not nice, it's ugly. And it causes a lot of different mood swings. Loss of blood causes a lot of weakness. It means it's impacting the brain and how we show up in the workplace. And one thing I want us to consider in the Caribbean is sabbaticals for women with menopause. Whatever that looks like, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Unless we put them out, right? They have to be made clear, made visible, so we can do something about that.
Can only be considered if it's out there.
Yes, absolutely. So just putting that out there. And then in true style, C-sharp style, they always have to do something to get us moving. So there are some good get moving activities. And then we are also going to have, for the certifications for the last day, they're going to be on fundamentals of money management. Absolutely
important.
Then we're going to have adaptive leadership. So how do we adapt our leadership style? And the last one is going to be on habits that influence. So we got a lot to look forward to.
Full plate.
Over the next 2 days, over those next 2 days, May 9th and 10th. Miss this and definitely blame yourself. Nobody else. Don't blame your company, because if you don't ask, you won't know.
Yes.
If you will receive. But if you ask,
companies would just do it if you would just just ask.
You know how many times I've conducted workshops with heads of organizations, whether it be CEOs, COOs, or CFOs, and I've asked them, are they aware of organizations like C-Sharp or SHRM or CIPD or their local HR associations and the conferences that are happening, HERMAG, HERMAB, HERMAT, wherever. If you if they're aware of those associations and that they actually do provide support and certifications for HR professionals. And 99.99% of the time, most of those leaders will say no. And then when you ask, and because I have conversations with HR people all the time, and I talk about what are we doing to make sure that you get the certifications that you need. A lot of times people will say, I pay for it myself. Why do you pay for it yourself? Because the organization is not going to pay for it for me. How do you know that? Have you asked them? No.
A lot of
And
them don't
sometimes
ask.
it's fear.
Yep.
Sometimes it's sheer fear of a no. But you don't know what you're going to get unless you ask. And so I think we have to find a way to move beyond our fear and ask for what we deserve as HR professionals. We got to ask for what we deserve.
That's right.
We touched on that a little bit earlier when we did a preview of the art of storytelling. So if you're a C-Sharp member, you should definitely check that out pre-conference. But, you know, at the end of the day, no one in the world's ever died of the word no.
No.
That's right.
No. I don't know anyone.
So there's nothing wrong with just asking. And
Exactly.
you'll be able to maneuver. The best thing that can happen is you get the yes. The worst thing that could happen would be the same position you were in before you decided to ask.
Exactly.
That's
So
it.
do it.
Just do it. You can't grow in your comfort zone. I tell people this all the time. You've got to step outside of your comfort zone in order to grow. The growth zone is beyond the comfort zone. Your learning zone is beyond your comfort zone. So you have to stretch yourself and be willing to accept a no. A no is not the end of the world.
Yep.
And then you just budget to suit so that you can be at C-Sharp 2025 because Kimberly has given us the dates. So make sure that you are, if you're not here now, that you're there the 8th and 9th in 2025. And we're going to get loud together. We're going to stay loud and proud. C-Sharp conferences don't happen without amazing keynote speakers, and also wonderful hosts. And our hosts for the conference this year, we have both face-to-face host and a virtual host. Our face-to-face host is Crystal Tomlinson. If you know, you know.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yes.
And our virtual host is going to be Karen Scott. Again, if you know, you know.
Nice.
And we had a wonderful time last year. So I am absolutely looking forward to these coming days being at the C-Sharp conference. And again, just connecting and enjoying the experiences of all that Jamaica has to bring. I know that the team are planning some amazing activities for everyone who is attending. And I'm sure they'll be sharing those with you as we get there, of all the things they want to do so you can experience the culture that is Jamaica, that you can experience the people that is Jamaica.
Yes.
Because out of one man.
Out of many one. Oh yes.
Out of many.
One.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're really going to live that and embody that at the C-Sharp conference. But we're also going to get to see beautiful Jamaica in the process. And if you don't have to miss it, don't miss it. We've shared the links for you to connect. This stream will be here for you to go back and take a look at. Scroll up in the comments, but I'll add the link again further to the bottom so that you can access it and be a part of this wonderful experience. Tiersa and Conroy, thank you so much for being here today and for taking this time out to share your stories, your experiences, and what you're looking forward to. If closing words, last things that you could say to convince people who haven't paid for their tickets as yet, or last words of encouragement that you just want to give HR professionals in general who are here listening to this live today about sharing their stories, embracing their stories. Tiersa.
Well, I would definitely say if you haven't, definitely sign up. But HR on a whole, what we're going to get from this experience is relatability. Because each of us has a different story, a different experience, a different challenge. But there's just something very powerful that when you're in the room with other people that have either gone through the same thing or things of that same level of difficulty, that you just get power that you didn't feel you had before. And so, whether you're attending virtually or in person, I want you to have an open mind, an open heart to this experience, and to really make it intentional that you will open yourself up to be vulnerable, because that's where your story lies, in the vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And when you leave, you'll feel so much better, especially our one man band HR professionals who are the only person. Come and get your love, come and get your support, come and get
Yes.
the empowerment that you need, so we can all go back to our organizations with that reignited passion to truly make change.
Nice. For me, I will tell you this. First, there's no reason why you shouldn't get your ticket. You need to be
None.
there. None whatsoever. But on a serious note, I want to encourage everyone. Understand that whatever it is, whatever the challenges are, whatever they are or they were before that you felt would have either stopped you in your track at one point, or they may be stumbling blocks, look at them as currencies.
Mm-hmm.
Currencies. Currencies, if you use them properly, it will pave the way for you going forward. Not only for you, because as HR professionals, what we don't know is we're planting seeds,
Mm.
and we're planting seeds, oak trees, all these different trees that other people will one day get shade from because
Yes.
of us pouring into
Mm-hmm.
that one person who may come knock on the door. Hey, I just lost my mother. How can those little things, those little moments are legacy that
Yeah.
you're creating, because that one word to that individual may just change the trajectory of their life
Mm-hmm.
forever and their family's life forever. That
Yeah.
investment in that staff member will come to you and like, oh, I just need help to do this one course. That one course does not only represent one course, it
Yeah.
represents so much generationally. So
Mm.
think of yourself as not paper pushers, but think of yourself as that currency carrier
Yeah.
who will then help to pay the way for somebody moving forward. You're creating legacy. That's what we
Yes.
do. We are
Ooh.
creating legacies that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we never even will know of. But somewhere in the world, you will hear, oh,
Mm-hmm.
because of Julie, I am where I am today. I've been
Mm-hmm.
hearing these things
Mm-hmm.
from persons who would have long gone. I had an HR manager, and because of that person died years ago, but that
Yeah.
legacy, and that legacy lives on through that individual and lives on for generations to come. So
Yes.
think of yourself as that legacy carrier.
Mm-hmm. What
Yes.
is the legacy that you are building as an HR
Absolutely.
professional? What is the
Absolutely.
legacy that you are building as an experienced architect?
Yes.
Creating good experiences in your organization for the people that you serve. Wow. You guys just gave me goosebumps. I'm all in my feels now. You
Countdown
gave,
is on.
you
That's the
gave, yes, yes. I have nothing else to add to this other than just to say I absolutely agree with both of you. I think this is a great experience for an opportunity for you as HR professionals
Hmm.
to connect with other HR professionals, to learn how to craft your story if you didn't know how to do it before. This is a great way to start that. And I think that C Sharp has, again, knocked this out of the park when it comes to putting such great content together and making sure that you have the best experience that you could possibly have when you join us for Loud 24 at the Spanish Court Hotel on May 9th and 10th, 2024. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Really appreciate you. Once again, Major thanks to the C-Sharp team for this opportunity to share, promote the conference through the HR Sound Off podcast show. It is an absolute pleasure to serve you as an activator and as a huge advocate for C-Sharp. I am always excited to see the amazing things that they are planning and putting together and to be a part of it in any way that I can. And so we are happy and excited.
Oh, yes.
To be here.
I am ready. I am ready. I am ready.
Yes, yes. Kimberly has been dropping gems all through the chat. I said to Kimberly, "Are you sure you don't want to come on and be a part of this panel?" She's like, "No, I'll just join and I'll do my thing." And she's doing her thing in the background, and that's how the team works. Yeah, such a blessing. Such a blessing. Shout out to you, Kimberly Largy.
Great team.
Amazing team working in the background. We are so proud of you. We are happy to be a part of this special event. And we will see you in Jamaica.
Next week.
In Jamaica. Next week. Let's do this, guys. Let us get loud in Jamaica. Let's get loud.
Be prepared to dance. Hey.
On the dancing yet. We're just talking about the fundamentals here.
Yes, the content. The rest is going to come. We're going to have a blast, guys. Don't miss out if you don't have to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is Julie Turney, and you have been listening to HR Sound Off Live with my guests Conroy Thompson and Tiersa Hall and Kimberly Largy in the background. We are so excited to welcome you to the C-Sharp 2024 Loud Conference. Every artist has a story. Do not miss this. If you can be in Jamaica on May 8th, on May 9th, I keep saying the 8th, May 9th and 10th, 2024 at the Spanish Court Hotel, we would be honored to have you join us and be a part of this experience. Until next month for another live, I will see you. We are gone. I'm going to start packing for Jamaica.
See you next week.
I will see you guys next month for another HR Sound Off Live. Thank you for being here.